Okay. Fine. Uh, Good afternoon, students. Am I audible?
Good
Yes,
afternoon,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I think in the last class, we had dealt with various operators and something so called as Boolean values also. So in today's class, we are moving on to certain important things which makes our programs more effective way, right? So simply writing a program which executes in a sequential manner is not the effectiveness of a program. So I should make sure that my programs work on various conditions, satisfies or accepts various conditions. So we'll see how exactly our program can be written more effective when I deal with complicated programs. Okay. So till now we have written programs like printing, summing two numbers, isn't it? Right? We have not still gone to the next level of programs as of now, right? So let us see what is so called as flow control statements in today's class and the elements of a flow control statements. Okay, then types of flow control statements. Okay, so we will see probably the last topic types. I may deal with only 3 types today. The next 2 types we will see in the next class. Okay, what are these flow control statements? Okay, can anybody just answer me the programs which we now wrote? What kind of statements we wrote? How was the execution going on in a Python program which I wrote summing of two numbers?
Sequential statements.
Sequential way of execution. So I wrote the program in made up of sequential statements. Okay. Now, what are these flow control statements? The control statements, or I can tell it is a set of statements which decides the flow control of my program. So whatever we have written right now, it was sequential control. Okay, the flow control, the control of the program is now controlled by a set of statements, and that is called as a flow control statements. Okay, so you can just see now here a program. Usually we write a series of instructions which will be executed sequentially. Till now what we have written is that, right? But then the real strength of the programming is not just running one instruction one after the other. Just giving sequential execution is not the real strength of the programming concept. So we want some expressions to be evaluated, right? So we want some expressions to be evaluated, and we want our program to decide to skip instructions. So based on my expressions, so based on my expressions evaluation, program has to not execute all statements. It has to skip certain instructions, right? And I also want my program to repeat certain instructions for several number of times, isn't it? Also, I may also have program to choose one of the several instructions to run. Okay, so suppose say I have 5 instructions. I want out of those 5, 1 instructions to run. Okay, repeat. I want some 5 instructions to repeat again and again for several number of times, right? Those decision will be made on the evaluation of the expression. Okay, can anybody just tell me now, how do we repeat a set of instructions in normal in
Using
using
looping statements.
looping statements? Yes, for, while, right? Can anybody tell me, choose one of the several instructions to run? How did you do in C? What
Decision statements.
oh, pardon me?
Control,
Huh?
control statements.
Control statements. Okay, so we have used, I think you people have used
Switch.
Switch case in C? Switch case, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So can anybody tell me in switch case what happens?
We write different cases that are
How many
possible.
cases you will give? Usually, in general. How many cases? Suppose say you give n cases,
And one
right?
default
Out of
statement.
that, all the n cases will execute or only one case?
All that will execute.
Okay. All will execute?
One, ma'am.
Only
One
one.
case will be executed based on the expression that you give in the switch. Based on the expression that you give in the switch, one of the case will be executed. So choose one of the several instructions to run. You have switch case here, right? Similarly, decide to skip instructions. What have you used in your C? To
Break,
skip
continue.
instructions.
Break, continue.
Which statements you would have used?
Break, continue.
Which statements? Skip instructions. Okay. Can anybody tell me what happens in if else? If else, students. If else, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
What happens in if
Condition
else?
is
If
true,
first
it executes a
If at
set of
all the
statements.
condition is true, which block will be executed?
the first one.
Statements under the
First block, that is the block under the if will be executed. If at all, if condition, the condition inside the if is false, it will execute else block. So you can now see, based on true and false, either of one block will be executed. So you are skipping certain instructions, isn't it? Right? So a flow control statement is a one. Now, to do all this job, we have flow control statement, and this flow control statement is a one, which now defines the flow of execution of the program. So it tells you whether you have to repeat, whether you have to choose, whether you have to skip. So such statement which defines the control flow of the execution of the program is now called as a flow control statement. Are you understanding? So flow control statements are the one which decide or which can decide which Python instructions to execute under which condition. So we will tell you which has to be executed under which condition. Is that clear, students? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the screen blinking for you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It's blinking.
1 second. Something wrong? 1 second, yeah. How about now? How about now, students?
It's fine, ma'am.
It's fine. So what is a flow control statement? It is nothing but which decides the flow of execution of the program. And when I tell flow, means which instructions to be executed under what conditions. So how the instructions might execute? It might skip, it might repeat, or it might choose one of the several instructions. Okay. So what are the elements of my flow control statements? So you know what is now a flow control statement. So what are the elements of the flow control statements? You have to know. So every flow control statement, whatever you write, will have two things. One is the first part, which is called the condition. Okay. Any flow control statement you write, the first part is called the condition. It should contain a condition. And you all know that condition is a one, which are Boolean expressions always. So it cannot be anything else. So Boolean expressions. And you all know that Boolean expressions will get evaluated to what value?
True or false?
To what value?
True or false?
Boolean value, which is either true or false. Remember, right? So the element of the flow control statement, first one is a condition, where condition is always a Boolean expression, which will be evaluated down to a Boolean value. And that Boolean value is either true or false. Okay. Then your control statement will also have one more element called as a clause. Remember, so they might ask you in your exam, what is a clause, right? So you should be able to tell. So clause is nothing but a block of code. Try to understand. So a block of code that you write, okay, inside a flow control statement is called as a clause. So both are C only, the condition and clause. Are you understanding, students? So now the flow control statement is a one which decides now what to do. So what has to be done? So what to do means, what do you understand by what to do here? Whether the instructions to be skipped or it has to be what, students?
Evaluate.
Executing.
Executed repeatedly, or you have to select any of the instructions out of several instructions. So it will decide what to do based on what? Based on what? Based on which part of the flow control statement? Based on what?
Condition.
Based on the condition. So it will decide whether should I skip, whether should I repeat, or should I choose. What should I do? It depends, or if it does by looking at the condition, where condition will be either evaluated to true or a false. True or a false. So remember, every flow control statement will have a condition followed with a clause. What is a clause, students? What is a clause?
A block of code.
A block of code, or you can tell a set of instructions, or you can tell set of statements. So technically block of code. Code means set of statements. Are you understanding? Block of code means set of statements. Is that clear, students? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Some they might ask you, what is a flow control statement? What are its elements? So you should be able to tell. It's two elements. One is condition and a clause. What is a condition? It's a Boolean expression which will be always evaluated to Boolean value, true and a false. A clause is nothing but a block of a code. Okay, and this block of code will be executed, right, based on my condition, whether it is true or false. Right? Now, as I told, lines of Python code will be grouped together in blocks. Okay. Can anybody tell me in Python, okay, in C program, how do you represent block of code? The block begins with what?
Braces.
Flower
Only
braces.
braces.
The block in C begins with flower braces. I think even in C++ it begins with flower. Even in Java it begins with flower, ends with the flower. But in Python, there is no concept of flower braces. Take that out from your mind. So you should remember that every block of the code begins and ends from the indentation. So you should give an indentation, just a tab. Indentation is nothing but a collection of space, which is just a tab to tell my block is beginning. Right? And to tell my block is ending, you should remove the indentation. Remember. Right? So very important. So indentation to be given at the beginning and to be removed at the end to indicate a block of a code. Right? So we can tell when a block begins and ends. Both we can visualize and tell from the indentation. So you should follow 3 rules for blocks. That is for writing block of a code. Right? So what is the first rule? Block begins with what? A block
Indentation.
with an indentation. Suppose say you have 10 statements to be under one block. So you should first, while typing, you should first give one tab. Then type all the 10 statements. That is one block to me. When you encounter 11th statement, which is not part of my, what do you tell, my block, you should remove the indentation. That means you should come back to the initial position of the previous block. Yes. So blocks begin with the indentation increases. So when you give a tab, it understood, the interpreter understands that it is a block of a code which you have started. Then blocks can contain any other blocks. So depending on your program, you can have blocks, So we'll see those programs also. Blocks end when the indentation decreases to 0. Means to say you are back to the previous location in your program. Okay. Or to a containing blocks indentation. Or that is what I mean to say. The previous blocks indentation when you are back. Right? So it tells that the block ends. So blocks begins with the indentation increase. Block ends when the indentation decreases to 0 or to a containing blocks indentation. Is that clear? Is that clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let us see one small example before I go for types. One second. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
One second. Some network issues. Okay. Okay. Is it visible, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So right now, you all know that one of the flow control statement is if. Okay. So since you all know that, so I'm just taking this example prior telling you what are the control statements. Okay. So you can just see the syntax here. If followed with a expression and then you should give a colon. Can you see that? Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Can anybody tell me now, what is this expression called in terms of flow control? What is this expression?
Condition.
It is called as the condition. And what is this condition? Can you see? It is what, ma? It will be with
Boolean expression.
Boolean expression.
Boolean expression, which will be either evaluated to true or a false. Okay. So now you can just see this is compulsory. You should give the colon. Okay. Then as per the knowledge what you have as a programmer, you all know that when the expression is evaluated to true, okay, I want to execute certain set of statements. That is block of what? What is the name given in terms of flow control?
Clause.
Set of block of code, which is called as a clause. So I have just given us a block of code. So it is actually a clause there. So what should I do when I write? Could you observe here? My if started at this particular column. So I want certain set of statements called as a clause to be executed or the block of the code. Can you observe this part? Can you see? What is this now? The block of code starts with what?
Indentation.
Indentation. You should give the indentation. Sorry. You should give now the indentation here. Yes. Then write. So I want these statements to be in my block. Okay. All the statements, can you observe? They fall under the same indentation. Can you see this, students? Can you see? They are under
Yes,
the
ma'am.
same indentation. So when I know that as a programmer, okay, so these are my set of statements to be executed when the condition is evaluated to true. So I will write the indentation. When I am done with it, I should decrease the indentation. Can you see? The next set of statements, you have removed the indentation to the previous block of code. So what is my previous block of code here? If. So I am back to my indentation here. Can you see? The following statement is now no more having any indentation. Did you observe that, students? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can anybody now guess? If the expression is true, what all will be executed?
The clause.
Statement. The clause which I have given with the indentation. So all this will be executed. This, followed with this, and then this. Will following statement will execute if the condition is true?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Be careful. If the condition is true, will following statement execute?
No, ma'am.
Students,
Yes, ma'am. It will be
it will be executed. See, when the condition is true, just remember this. When the condition is true, we will execute all the statement followed with the following statement also. But when the condition is false, what happens?
Directly execute following.
Only following statement is executed.
Only following statement will be executed. So, what did I do with if now? Did I repeat or did I skip? Did I choose? What did I do?
skip.
What did I do? Did I repeat? Did I skip? Did I choose? With if.
Choose, ma'am.
Choose. So what did I do here is, if the condition is true, I chose this set of statements. But when the condition is false, I did not execute these statements. To be very frank, rather than choose, I can use skip. Okay. Condition is true, I executed this. When condition is false, I skipped these statements. I will not execute. The interpreter directly jumps to following statement. Could you see? It will directly jump to the following statement. Remember, condition is true, it will execute all the statements. Come back to the next statement immediately. But the condition is false, it will not execute these statements which is in the block of the code and executes only the statement which is after the block of the code, after the clause. Yes? Am I clear with this? Are you clear with this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So small flowchart has been given to you here. You can just see very much clear. Can you just see here? Boolean expression. If it is evaluated to true, it will execute the block of statements. After executing, immediately the control will be back to the next statement available. But if it is false, it will not go here. It will not execute this block of statements. Rather, it will come to the statement which is below to the block of statements. Are you clear with this?
Yes.
Are you clear with that? Shall we go for that? So remember the execution, the flow, you have to remember how the interpreter deals. Okay. Next, the different types of flow control statements. In Python, we have 3 types. One is a conditional statement. The other one is a looping statement. And we have statements like break, continue, and pass also. So I think break, continue is not new to you, but pass is new to you all. Okay. So conditional, looping, break, continue, and pass statements. Okay. So there's a picture here for you which tells you the different kinds of statements available. Can anybody tell me what is for and while? What kind of statements?
Looping statement.
Looping.
Looping
And
statement.
if is what statement?
Conditional.
Conditional statement.
If else.
Conditional statement.
So there's a new thing which you are not studied in your regular programming languages. If, elif, else. If, elif. So you have elif here. Okay. This is also one of the conditional statements. So along with that, you have break, continue, and pass. Pass is not there in the picture, but anyways, they are also your flow control statements. Are you understanding? Okay. See, you could see here. When the condition was true, it executed this. When the condition was false, it did not execute this. So, is my program execution sequential in this case?
No, ma'am.
No. If it is true, then it is sequential. But if it is false, it is not sequential. I skipped certain statements without executing. Isn't it? Okay. That's how it is done. Okay. So this is not there for you. Later I'll just tell this. What are the different conditional statements available in our Python? So conditional statements is also called as decision making statements. Okay. So in Python we have 4 types. One is if, simple if. Next is if else. Next is if, elif, else. If, elif, else. Next is nested if else statement. Remember, in exams they may ask you to explain different types of conditional statements. So you should be able to explain all these things. Okay, let us first see the if statement. Okay, so you all know as a programmer, you are all a programmer now. Okay, you have learned 3 languages as of now. There's a 4th programming language which you are learning. So it's very simple. So if is a decision making statement as we have seen. Okay, and you should, how do you explain it? Okay, so you should first give a small description, syntax, okay, then the flow chart, and then one example, which I have given in the same way in the PPT also. What is the description that I give? So an if statement clause. What is it clause, ma? What do you call? What is a clause here?
Block of code.
Block of code, which is followed immediately after if. That is block following. Yeah, with the indentation. Remember, the block of code should be properly indented because you don't have flower braces. Okay, so that's a block of code following the if statement will execute if the statement's condition is what? Condition is what? True. So whatever you write will be executed under the clause if the condition is true. Else what happened? Will the clause be executed?
No, ma'am.
Else the clause will not be executed. Rather than executed, preferably use the term, it is what? The class is what, students? The class is what is, no. If it is false, what happens? The class is
It is skipped.
skipped. The class is skipped if the condition becomes false. So you should tell small description. Very simple it is. The if statement will have a condition and a clause. The clause will be executed. The condition is true. Evaluation. Else the clause will be skipped. Okay. Syntax is very simple. If, what is if here? If I ask you what is if, what you will tell?
Keyword.
Is a conditional
The keyword. Yes, token. It's a token of the programming language. It's a keyword. Followed with my expression, or you can also write condition. Never mind. Okay. You can use any terminology here. If test expression, then followed with a colon. Compulsory. You should follow with a colon. Can anybody guess why colon I should write? Why colon? See, if I don't write colon, it will not be identified as a flow control statement. Okay, it's a syntax. So you should write the flow control statements ended with a colon. Understanding, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then after colon, give the indentation, write the statements. How many ever statements you want, you can write. Once you are done with that block of code to be executed, when the test expression is true, remove the indentation. Understanding? Understanding, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this you have to write even the flow chart. So I've given the flow chart also for you. Condition, if the condition is true. So as I told, here you can write condition, no harm. You can write here a condition. Okay. Did you observe something here? Did I put parenthesis for expression?
No, ma'am.
So you either you can use or you can skip. It is left to the programmer. But usage will be better if you have a combined expression. Only simple expression you can skip, right? For example, here, see, this is one simple expression. I less than equal to 10. So I can give or either I can skip, not a problem. Okay. But if it is complicated, having logical operators, try to give parentheses, left to the programmer's decision. Okay. Fine. So if the condition is true, this set of statements will be executed, the block of code. If the condition is false, it will skip this, move to the following statements. Whatever is below to it, that will be executed. If the condition is true, it will execute this code along with the remaining codes. Is that clear, students?
Yes,
Is it
ma'am.
clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Small example. Okay. Fine. I hope you can see this example. Okay. This is my starting of my program. I is equal to int, input, enter a number. What is the first line doing for me?
Taking an input.
Input
Accepting
from
the
the
input
user.
from the user.
Then, after taking the input, what is it doing? Completed.
Condition.
Condition.
Checking for the condition.
Condition. What condition? I want this statement. What is this first statement doing? Interpreter does what?
should enter the number.
Okay. The user will enter
It
the number.
explicitly
After
converts
that,
the
what does it
integer.
do?
The string is converted
Converts
to
into
int.
integer.
Yes. Why should it convert to int? Why should it convert to
As we are giving a number, so number is in int.
as the number is an int? No. No.
The accepted
We
string.
are externally asking him to
Will
convert.
be a string, ma'am.
Uh, Repeat. Someone speaking. Kindly repeat.
The accepted input would be string, so we are converting
Yes.
it to int.
So by default, the input function will accept the input in the terms of
String.
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 You should convert it appropriately based on my program. So I want a number. So I'm converting it to int. Okay. Which conversion function have I used?
Explicit.
Explicit in type conversion function. Which is a type conversion function, students? Which is the type conversion function which I have used? Int. You can see I have used the type conversion function int. Okay. So if I enter 10, 10 will be accepted by input function as a string. Later will be converted to int. And where does it store?
In
Where
I.
does it store?
Ma'am.
In I. Okay. Next, followed with that, the next statement. Can anybody guess what is this trying to do?
It checks if the accepted number is less than or equal to 10.
10. Okay. If it is equal to 10 or less than or equal to 10, if the condition is true, no. What does it do? Okay. What does it do?
It prints condition is true.
Condition is true. Okay. So I'll just give this input. Enter the number. I gave 9. Can anybody guess what is the output?
Yeah, it's true.
Condition is true.
True. End.
True.
End.
Condition is true and then end. Condition is true and end. Okay. Now, how is the flow control here? In this input, how is the flow control?
Continuous.
Continuous. Rather than continuous, what does the interpreter do is, it will check whether the entered number is less than or equal to 10. Means to say, it will evaluate this expression. When I enter 9, 9 is less than or equal to
10.
10. Condition is evaluated to what?
True.
True.
True. Since the condition is true, it will execute the respective if clause. Yes? What is my if clause containing? How many statements it contains?
One statement.
Only one.
I think screen might be not that visible. You have only one indentation here. Could you observe? One indentation I have given, one statement. That's all. It will execute condition is true. Then immediately jumps to the next statement. Block is made up of only one statement now. Is that clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next output, say I give the enter the number as 19. Guess what happens?
It prints
Just
end.
prints end.
End. How does the interpreter deal with that?
It skips
How
the
does the
clause.
interpreter deal?
Evaluates to false.
Yes.
So it skips that statement and just prints end.
Okay. It will evaluate the expression as false. Henceforth, the clause will be
Skip.
and goes to the remaining part of my program. So the remaining part of my program is in the end. So it will print end. Is that clear? Is that clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
One second. Oi! Okay. Next set of statement, conditional statement. Can you see that? Can you see that, students? So we
Yes,
have
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
if else. So we have if else statement. Okay. So what will happen in if else? Can anybody just generally tell now with respect to terminologies which I have told now? Someone can tell?
If the if expression evaluates to true, the if clause will
True.
be executed. Otherwise, the else
Yes.
clause will
Good.
be executed.
Yes. So very good. So if the condition is true, the if clause will be executed. Otherwise, the if clause will be skipped and the else clause will be executed. Yes, very good. So the else actually is optional. Well, that's what I tell. See, if can come as simple if, but when I give else, right? When I give the else, okay, the else clause will be executed only if the if condition is evaluated to false. Yes, so remember. So the if else statement sometimes is also called as alternative execution statement. You can guess why the name is alternative. Why is it called as alternative? If one is not there, the other one will work. Yes or no? Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
alternative means
Yes,
if the
Yes,
expression
ma'am.
is true, this will work. Otherwise, this will work. So there are two alternatives. But in normal if, there is no alternative. Isn't it? So it's also called as alternative execution, in which we have two possibilities. So alternative means only two, isn't it? Suppose you want to travel to college, right? If college bus, if you miss college bus, you will come in BMTC, right? So if you don't get BMTC, you will not go for another alternative. There's only two possibilities usually. The condition determines which one should be executed. So condition is true, if clause. Condition is false, else clause. Fine. Syntax. Okay. What is that you observe here in the syntax, students? Quickly. What is that you observe in the syntax?
Two clauses, ma'am.
Yes, two clauses. Now syntax, you just tell me. If you know the syntax now, how do you write else?
Else colon
Else
and
keyword
intent again.
followed with what? Colon and the set of statements with appropriate indentation. I should give appropriate indentation. Remember, one tab. That's how you have to give it. Okay. So look at the flow chart now. Your test expression, and I hope I did not have to tell you the symbols, isn't it? What is the symbol called in flowchart, students? What is the symbol called in flowchart?
Decision making.
Decision making symbol, or we also called as what do you tell? Conditional symbol, right? So it has only two branches. One is true, one is false. Two branches. Okay. If it is true, body of if will be executed. If it is false, body of else will be executed. Then you can see, observe the lines after that. It will continue with my normal flow of program. Yes, it will continue the rest of the program. Is it clear, students? Is it clear with the syntax?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Clear, ma'am.
Yes. So let us now see the program. Okay, simple program I have taken to check whether a number is odd or even. So you all know, how do you check a number is odd or even?
The modulus function.
It is
Modulus function.
divisible
Remainder
by
should be 0.
Yeah. Yes. So first line, as you all know, it will read the input from the user, converts it to what data type?
Integer. Data type.
What data?
Integer.
Integer. Then it gets stored in num. Okay, fine. Then see, it is the knowledge of the programmer which to use. Okay, you all know that number, if it is divisible by 2, it is even, else it is odd. So normally speaking also we use else. If else, if divisible by 2, it's even, else it is odd. So we have only 2 alternatives, right? So you can just see here, if num mod 2 condition, this is my condition now. If num mod 2 double equals to 0, the num mod 2 double equals to 0, right? So I just give a block of code here, right? So some typing mistake that you can just observe. So block of code, given tab, print, the given number is what, students?
Even.
Even. Okay. And then else block, where you print the given number is what, ma? Else block, what do you print? The given is odd. So the 2 blocks only, the if and the else. There are only 2 blocks which tells you first the given number is even if the condition is true, else it is odd. Okay. So we have the outputs given here. So the number 9, given number is odd, else. If I give 12, the given number is what, students? Even. Can you observe that?
Even.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Just go interpreter. I will just tell you this. Two minutes. Okay. So I'll go to the new file. Can you see, students? Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll not give the comments and all. I'll just give this input and just show you how to give indentation. Enter a number. Okay. Tell me, what should I do next? What should I do first? Give the control.
Condition.
If, okay. If, what is that condition?
Num
Mod
mod 2
2.
is equal.
What's the condition, students? Double equals to
0.
0. Then what should I do?
Colon.
Colon.
Print.
Okay. So this is my condition done. So I should give if block, if clause and else clause, provided proper indentation. So just observe when I press enter what happens. Can you see what happened when I pressed enter?
Yes, ma'am.
Observe, the cursor automatically came with the indentation because the editor knows that when you give a colon, automatically it gets to know that it is a flow control statement. So there will be a block followed with it, isn't it? So automatically it will come with a indentation. You need not have to worry, but you should make sure it is properly removed also by indicating the end of the block. So I'll just give print. I'll just give it as even. Yes. And what should I do next? Just observe. Print. When I type enter, could you see what happened? Could you see what happened when I press enter? It is in the
Indentation.
indentation. Means to say it is still assuming that you have set of statements under the same block. But you have got to know that there is no more statements. There's only one statement. I want to write the else block. What should I do now?
Backspace.
Backspace. I should remove the indentation. Don't tell backspace. I should remove the indentation. Yes, I removed it. Did you observe, students? Yes? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Give else block followed with what?
Colon.
Then again press enter. If I press enter, automatically it will be a block. Yes. So again print. It is odd. Then what should I do? I'll press enter. What should I do now? What should I do? Students, I want to print end of the program like that. What should I do?
Remove the indentation.
To removing.
To the indentation, because at the end I want to print end of the program like that. Message I want to print. Yes? Yes? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll quickly run this. Save. Sample.py. Save. Run. Now give me some numbers, students. Okay.
26.
If we give 23 as the number, can anybody guess the answer for 23?
Odd.
Odd.
Or
And
Odd and end. Can you see? Odd and end. Because the control came, the condition is false. It came here. After printing this, it is continuing with the rest of the program. Right? Next one. Some even number let me give. What's the answer?
Even end.
Even end. Okay. So you might question me, ma'am, can I give multiple statements? Yes, no harm. You can give multiple statements. See, you press enter, right? Automatically it will be indented. Then I'll just give something like star, star, star. Okay. Let us run it. What would be the answer if I press 8 here?
even
What is the
star,
answer?
star, and end.
What is the answer, students? What is the answer in that case?
Even
Even
star and end.
asterisk.
Yes, some star, star I put and then end. Oh, where is it? Yes. See? Even star, star, end. Fine. Okay. Let me now do something. I will remove this. Okay, I forgot to give colon because I'm new to the programming language. I just forgot to give colon. Let's see what happens. Okay. What happened? What error did you get? Could you observe, students?
Invalid syntax.
Yes,
Invalid
ma'am. Invalid syntax.
Syntax error. And what is that? Invalid syntax. Your else cannot come without semicolon. Right? It should come with a semicolon. Sorry, colon, sorry. Okay, let us remove and see this what happens. Okay, you get an error because that is a syntax error. Having a colon. Okay. Fine. Now, let me check this. What did I do here?
You removed the indentation, ma'am.
Let us see what happens. Can you see? What's the error? Again, we got a syntax. What is the error? Expected and
Indentation
block. The interpreter knows very well that if will be followed with a clause and that clause has to be indented. Very simple. It has to be indented. You cannot skip it. Your program will not execute. You should give indentation. Okay. For example, what I'll do is I'll give indentation for this, but I'll again forget this. I forgot to give. Let's see what happens again. See? What happened? Again, we got invalid syntax. The reason because else comes along with what? Always.
If
You can write else individually.
no, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
It comes along with what?
If statement.
If statement.
Statement. Okay. Can anybody tell me what happens in this program? How does the interpreter deal? 8 mod 2 is equal to 0. Yes, condition is true. It prints what, ma?
Even.
If number is 8, it will print what? Students.
Even.
Even.
Even. After that, what does it do? After printing even, it will come to immediate next line. Okay. It observes that it is a star. Then it comes here, right? It finds that there is a else, which is not along with the if. It will not process. So it cannot happen that the else can come individually. So it comes along with the if. Is that clear? Are you clear with the concept, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think anything else you want to ask? You can put braces here, small braces here. Don't put any other brace. If you want, you can put. If you don't want, you can remove, but still it works. If I put also, it works. No problem. Yes, it works. Right? If you put or if you don't put, it will work. Preferably put it when you have more complicated expression is what I mean to say. Okay. Is it clear, students?
Yes.
Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Fine. Anyways, I think it's time up. It's 1:30, 1:35, I think so. Yeah. Okay. We'll see the next in the next class. Elif, we will see it in the next class. Okay. Thank you, students. Any queries?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Fine.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Any queries? You can tell me. You can ask. Meantime, I'll take attendance. Any queries?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. I will forward some questions with respect to only if else to you all. Try to execute them. I think you can execute, right? No issues, right?
Yes, ma'am.
A few
Yes,
I'll just
ma'am.
forward. Simple ones only. Like greater than 2 numbers. Okay. Or find whether a number is a multiple of 5. Okay. Like that. Find whether the number is multiple of 5 or multiple of 7. Simple programs. I'll forward it to your WhatsApp by tomorrow morning. Okay, just go through it, try executing it. I want you people to execute, students. Do not write. Writing is of no use. Kindly execute it. It will take some time. You can execute. Okay. If you have not installed ideally, or if you have not installed Jupyter Notebook, you can use online compilers which are available. They are available. Just type on the Google online compilers, you will get. Okay. You will definitely, here also you can see I have taken for data structures lab actually. It's online available. Program is .com. Python it is. Python compilers. They are online available. You can check them. Is that clear, students? See here? Right? So online Python compilers are also available. Just use them if you have not installed anything. No excuses. in order to execute them. Just run. Enter number 8. Name num is not defined. Oh my god. Num. 1 second. Enter number 8. Same answer you get. Is that clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. We'll end the class. I think I have taken the attendance. 1 second. 1 minute, yeah? Yes, yeah. You can quit, ma. You can end the meeting. Any queries you can ask?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, ma. Thank you. Kindly practice the programs which I'll forward it to you all. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you,
End the
ma'am.
meeting. End the meeting, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.